Hi, Mark from Ariga here, and welcome to this second video in our series on Pipedrive integrations. Today we're going to be looking at calendar and contact integration. Now this actually builds on the first video in this series talking about email integration. So let's head over to our settings and we can take a look at what we need to do. So I'm going to go into the settings straight away. And first of all, we're going to have a look. So all the sections we need are in this connections part here. Now I mentioned that we needed to have email integration set up first. Now hopefully you've seen our first video, but if you're unsure, if you click on email integration in the middle section here, you should have an active syncing account there. If you have that, you're good to go for the rest of this video. If not, go and check out our first video to see how you can get that set up. So we're going to look at the calendar sync first of all. And click on calendar sync on the left. Okay, so note that my button says reconnect. That's only because I've done this before. It makes no odds. Yours will probably say connect if this is the first time you're doing it, but let's click on it anyway. So there's a number of options we can set when first setting up our calendar sync. And the first one is which calendar from our provider we want to sync with. Now, I'm using Outlook, so I've got an option of 3, which is the normal calendar, the birthdays, or the UK holidays. I'll stick with the basic one. I then have the option of which way I want to sync. So I can go one way or two way. Now, on the two way, it will create activities in Pipedrive from, in this case, Outlook, but it will only create them as one activity type, which you can select here. The one-way sync only takes it from Pipedrive down to Outlook. And finally, at the bottom here, we've got all the different things from Pipedrive that I can sync down to my calendar. Now, the typical ones are call a meeting, but I can pick any of the others if I wish. Okay, so once I'm happy, I can click Start Syncing. And once that's saved, you will see the active notification at the top, and note that I can change any of the options here. Okay, before I demo that, we're going to have a look at the contact sync setup. So again, let's go across, click contact sync in that middle section. And again, you'll see mine says reconnect, yours will say connect, but let's go ahead and click it. And we can see the options. So, first thing it's going to ask is some information about connection settings. So the first thing is the sync group. So the sync group basically says which contact book in my provider I want to sync with. So I've got a choice of the out-of-the-box ones for Outlook. Again, depending on your provider, yours will be slightly different. Again, a bit like the calendar sync, we then have the direction we want to sync in. So we can either go one way, i.e. contacts just go from, in this case, Outlook to Pipedrive, or two-way, in which case they are kept in sync. I'll select one way for now. And the final option in this section is about the visibility. So this is basically saying of the contacts that are created in Pipedrive from Outlook, who should be able to see them. So owner only, the owners group, owner subgroups, or everyone in the company. We'll select the most secure, which is owner only. Now, the final section here is more informational than anything else, but basically it shows you how the fields from your email provider are going to map across to Pipedrive. So the fields on the left will be different depending on your provider. As I say, in my case, it's Exchange or Outlook. So you can see what's mapped there. Note that it will create fields in Pipedrive if it needs to. Okay. But you can't actually change these. This is purely for information only. So once I'm happy, I can click Start Syncing. And it'll do an initial sync, which is showing up there. Note that for the contact sync, it actually shows some very useful statistics here. So we'll be coming back to those a bit later. Right, let's have a look and let's see if we can actually demo this happening. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Activities in Pipedrive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a phone call. So remember, this is one of the ones we said would sync. So let's set it for tomorrow, say 5 o'clock, and for an hour. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's give that a save. Right, so it appears in Pipedrive. Let's switch over now to Outlook. Okay, so here's my Outlook. And what we're going to do first of all, while we're waiting for the activity to sync, is we're going to create a new contact. So remember, we're syncing from the contacts address list. So let's start putting in a bit of information. I'll just call it something like test integration. That's fine. Put in a fake email address. If I can get the cursor in the right place. There we go. Okay. Display name. Give it a fake phone number as well. Okay, and let's give it an address as well. Get my typing right. There we go. Okay, once I'm happy, I'm going to save that in Outlook. Okay, so first of all, let's go to our calendar in Outlook and let's see if our activity has synced up. And yes, there it is. So there's all the information from Pipedrive automatically in my calendar at the right time for the right duration. Okay, so we can see that that's come across nicely with our integration. Switch back to Pipedrive, okay, and we know it's going to appear in the contacts, but before we have a look there, let's go back to our settings. There we go, and back to our contact sync, and I just want to show you those stats. So once it loads, there you go, you can see it has synced 1 today. So now if we go to our people, once that's loaded, we can see our test integration contact here. If we open that up, it has all the information that we entered from Outlook. So that's it really, you don't need anything else. The difficulty really is in the initial setup of the email integration, but as I say, if you look at our first video, we'll show you how to do that. Hopefully you found that useful. If you do need any more help, please do get in touch at the email address on the screen. And again, thank you very much for watching.